We have, of course, Mitch Lafon here on Skype. Very happy to have him joining us. And, you know, Mitch, you are constantly moving. As you said, you had how many interviews and shows this week?
I have 5 shows in 6 nights, and I am putting up an episode a day for about a month. Heavy Montreal is coming up.
Right.
Billy Joel's show is coming up. Bryan Adams is coming up.
A ton of stuff.
It never ends.
I mean, you're in high demand for the shows out there, and it's also in a good market to be doing so. Do you ever?
It's the greatest market, by the way. Sorry to cut you off, but it's
okay.
the greatest market because in Toronto, somebody like you and me are small fry, and we get looked over. Vancouver, pretty much the same thing, and then you look at any of the major markets like, L.A., Boston. They don't even look at us.
Right.
We're not the newspaper. We're not the radio. Podcast is still considered to be the ugly stepchild. In Montreal, however, I'm sort of the only one doing it and doing it in English. Right. So I have that advantage of, okay, I'm not competing. The market is split. You've got the French market and the English market. So you take all the demands and then you split it in two and you sort of squeeze in between that, which is good. It's a good little thing.
I like that a lot.
Edmonton?
Yeah, I'm in Edmonton. Yeah. At the moment, this is a weird market for that because there's a lot of people doing podcasts, but none of them have the aspiration to interview major label artists or to get press passes to events. So
right.
Since I'm here doing that, I sort of get looked at weird because I'm going into an environment with 5 major news networks and their camera crews, and then it's myself and my guys. So is it you mentioned you're one of the only guys doing it. Are you in there with major media as well, or is it typically not as many people trying to seek that out?
It really depends. The major media doesn't seem to focus on some of the bands that I focus on, and I have an advantage that a lot of the interviews that I'm doing, the bands, I'm friends with them. Just the other day, the promoter came to me and said, hey, we're not getting any, and I'm not going to start naming which bands, but we're not getting any interviews with this band that is playing in July at the Bell Center. Can you help us? And we have to circumvent sometimes the publicist, and I know they hate when I say that, but you have to go sort of around the wall. Mm-hmm. And so I had to go directly to email and text and say, hey, listen, promoter needs you to do some interviews. Can you help out? And they did. So I have that advantage. So when I get to be interviewing or backstage, I'm not within that pile. I'm in sort of the little Mitch world because but listen, like tomorrow I've got Bryan Adams, drummer, and it's funny, out of respect, I went to Universal and said, hey, can we set up an interview? And they said, oh my God, no, he doesn't talk to anybody. The band doesn't talk. What are you talking about? And then I went, all right. So then I emailed the band member and said, hey, he goes, yeah, sound check's at 4. Come on out, whatever you need. And it's just like,
Seriously. It's a funny situation where a lot of those guys, they would say yes if it would get to them, but the people who are the gatekeepers. They make the assumptions,
They don't make assumptions. Well, yeah, people are going to hate me for that. They don't make assumptions. They just want that power of, oh yeah, we can say no to you. Right. And it's like, okay, I'll say no to me. I don't fucking care. I'll just go around you. I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't get to be where I am by going, oh, okay, I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. I just go full throttle. And if you put a wall in front of me, I just go around it, or I find a way to go around it. And it's been successful, of course, but when I do that and say it out loud, you'll see in the next, anybody watching this, the publicists are going to start blocking me going, oh yeah, because they love that power. Anyway, sorry, publicists. I love you. You're useful sometimes.
Yeah, the odd time they get to their purpose is true. No, it's funny. What's your experience like? Because you do, of course, Rock Talk with Mitch Lafon, and what's it like exactly working specifically with the rock artists? Because I find that a lot of the time there can be sort of a lot of demands, a lot of things that they want in a certain way.
Demands in what sense? From the interview? Because I get no demands in terms of, when a publicist sets it up, they'll say, listen, these are some of the talking points we'd like you to hit, but they're obvious talking points that you're going to hit anyway. When you're talking to whoever, wherever, let's say Slash, because it's an easy name. You're talking to Slash, and he's coming to town to play a concert. He's coming to Heavy Montreal, and he's got a new album. Well, yeah, of course you're going to talk about coming to Heavy Montreal and the new album, because they're not there to be just your friend and talk about baseball. They want to plug. So out of respect, you go, okay, well, we'll hit that stuff, and then we'll talk about, once in a while you'll get a publicist that'll say, don't talk about, that the incident in 1986, and you go, okay, if it's 40 years later they still care, okay, but
yeah, seriously.
But no, I don't get anything. I've built a reputation where people know that I don't go down the negative road, in the sense that I don't come up and, like, I had Vinnie Vincent on from Kiss, formerly of Kiss, and folks were like, you should have asked him about the box set, and you should have asked, and it's like, well, no, I shouldn't, because if I do, he's hanging up.
Right.
Or if he's not hanging up, he's not answering. And an interview where the artist is not answering or hanging up is not useful.
Exactly.
So you keep them on the line, and anyway, that I took a lot of shit for the Vinnie Vincent interview, and my response is, well, do your own fucking interview.
Well, I am curious about that. I mean, that was an interesting timing with Vinnie, because he came on right after announcing, was it the Super Bowl show or the Speedball
right. Jam, yeah,
right. And then I'm curious on your reaction to that, because on your show he was very vocal, saying, yeah, anybody who's doubting this, how dare you, essentially, you're out of your mind. And then the shows ended up being canceled. How did that feel for you?
Listen, an interview's an interview. When I interviewed Gene Simmons in 1980, and I'm drawing a parallel here because of the Kiss world. I was 11 years old. I interviewed Gene, and he's like, we are going to take Unmasked on a world tour. We're going to hit all the markets. We're going to go to Europe and North America, and we're going to hit all the markets. And then we're going to open a traveling circus called Kiss World, where there'll be big, blow-up dolls, and it'll go from town to town. And you know what? Didn't happen. They didn't tour North America with Unmasked. They didn't have Kiss World. So, artists say things, and sometimes they come true, and sometimes they don't. And that's just the way it is. I mean, we've all said stuff. You'll say to your wife or your girlfriend, "Hey, I'll meet you at supper at 6 o'clock." Like even us tonight, I said we'll do this interview at 6 o'clock, and then shit came up, and more shit came up, and more shit came up. Doesn't mean Mitch is bad. Doesn't mean Vinny's bad. It doesn't mean Gene is bad. It just means shit comes up, and you. Right. So listen, he announced the Speedball Jam. He was adamant. It was in his heart. It was gonna happen, and it didn't, for whatever reason. And I'm not going to get into the reasons. I mean, I had further discussions, but it didn't happen. Okay. Well, now he's doing the birthday bash.
Do you feel any sort of way, though, about the pattern with him in terms of cancellations, being that it seems to be one thing after another?
Listen, there is a pattern there, and I think part of it is the fan base. When somebody says we need X amount of dollars for a ticket, and the fans go, well, that was canceled. I don't think maybe necessarily fans are. It's a tough situation with Vinny. I think the birthday bash is gonna happen. I think they are organizing it much differently. I don't want to lay blame on anybody, but from what I understood, the promoters that were involved didn't secure locations, didn't pay deposits, or whatever it was, and it became quirky. So we'll see. I like Vinny. He does what he does. I think he really has an opportunity to come back and be great and be the Ank Warrior again. So we'll see. August. What is it? August 10th, August 6th, or whatever, the birthday bash.
Sometime in August, yeah. I think it's the 10th. Yeah. Was there, in terms of speaking with him, because you had a pretty long conversation with him, was there anything that you took away? Like, what sort of perspective did you have after having an actual conversation with him, because he's sort of made as such an anomaly, in terms of being the character that he is.
What I took away from the whole situation is I think that sometimes in life when you hit a situation like a Kiss, you are unprepared for the machine. You are unprepared for the lawyers. You're unprepared for, I don't want to call it bullying, but for people who are ruthless businessmen. And I don't mean that in a negative sense. I mean,
it goes
businessmen
both ways.
Businessmen that are successful are ruthless. Bill Gates didn't build Microsoft because he was hugging everybody.
Yeah.
And I think Vinny, like myself, and maybe even you, if you're thrown into this situation at a young age and you hit this veteran wall of people that just know how to nickel and dime, just know how to run the business efficiently, efficaciously, I think sometimes it can be overwhelming. And I think that's probably what happened. It was just overwhelming. And, I'm pretty sure I would have crumbled in the same way, frankly. Because
right.
You don't expect, you join a band, you expect to go play rock and roll. You don't expect to have lawyers send you 40-page documents saying, you got to sign this, or, and I think that can be overwhelming. And then when you try to fight for the justice of it all, and they can outspend you, $1,000,000 to 1, not to coin a Kiss, but when they can outspend you $1,000,000 to 1, mm-hmm. It's a tough road. And when you want to seek that sense of justice, and you keep getting beaten down, not by fairness, but by money, mm-hmm. it gets muddy,
That is interesting, isn't it? Because not only do they have, the advantage, Kiss, financially, and not only the members, like Kiss LLC, the whole corporation, but also voice and platform-wise, they were producing documentaries in a time where there was no internet. And what they said in those stories, that was the story, whether you liked it or not. So I think it's interesting. I could see how a lot of
they can beat you down. I mean, they could beat you down through Circus Magazine, through Hit Parader, through Metal Edge, through doing MTV interviews, through doing. They had the machine to knock it down. And let's not forget that a lot of times when you join a band, and I'm guessing, they make you sign non-disclosure agreements and all that. So not only can they go on TV and MTV and Much Music and say whatever they want, when you're a guest and somebody asks you about it, you go, fuck, I can't say anything because I'm going to get sued. So you go, oh no, I love the band. They were great to me. Right. And so you're right. They control the message, and that can be frustrating, and that can drive you up a wall,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really fascinating in terms of ex-members. And, that's not me taking blame off anybody for anything. That's just simply adding perspective and saying, hey, there's definitely the benefit of the doubt for anyone. In terms of other people you've interviewed, Steven Adler. What are your thoughts on him? I don't want to go too much into it clearly, but, do you feel like the situation going on right now has anything to do with guns, or do you feel like it's something different?
Well, okay, so folks who might not have heard, there was a report from TMZ that he stabbed himself and that he went into the hospital. Now, the first thing I thought of was Artie Lang of the Howard Stern Show, and there is this sort of connection that, certain drugs will lead you to certain behaviors. I'm trying to be diplomatic in what I say.
Sure.
But yeah, I think when you're a guy like Ace Frehley or a guy like Steven Adler, but Tyler's great too.
Yeah, they're both good.
They're both good. And you see what the band is doing, and you see the fans coming out, and you see the money that's coming in, and you feel that you belong there. I think it can eat at you. I mean, look what Ace and his Rachel did about Gene's sexual assault. At some point the behavior start, and I think the guns thing not being let back in probably led to Steven being a little more unhappy and going. Now I saw him at M3 in May. Had a chance to talk to him. If you follow me on my socials, you saw that I posted a picture with him. Mm-hmm. He was great. He was smiling. He was happy. He was vivacious. Yeah. He didn't hide in the back area. He he went up and down catering. He looked great, looked and sounded great. So now the story after is that Stephen had an accident and he didn't actually stab himself. I mean, not in the technical way of, but stabbed himself accidentally.
In some form.
In some form. I don't know. It's a tough one. I hope that it's an accident, and I hope that he gets better. And if it's not an accident, I hope he gets better. Either way, I hope he gets better, because that's a tough one.
Exactly. I guess the specifics around it aren't even the issue, and we know what happened, and certainly myself as well. I don't know the man, but I definitely admire him and look up to him for his story, and I loved his interview with you, so I wish him all the best for sure. And you did raise an interesting point talking about Ace and sort of the lashing out after a certain point. And before I ask you this question, I see you removed from this in a positive sense, because I see you as somebody in rock media that does it right. As you said, you don't dig for dirt, but you don't ask softball questions. You actually try to get to the bottom of things as well. So I respect that.
Right. Diplomatically, though.
Sure. Exactly. Yeah.
Because you don't have to be an asshole. I mean, you don't.
Yeah. No, you certainly don't. And in terms of the rock media, do you feel like they're somehow involved in the blame of getting these guys more upset, or getting these guys, especially who aren't in the band anymore, into more of a frenzy? Because the way that they report it is so toxic, if you know what I mean.
Oh, absolutely. A lot of sites out there goad. They just try. They go fishing. They throw the bait out there, and they just wait for the artist to pull it in. And listen, the rock media is very useful. We need it. We need Blabbermouth. We need Ultimate Classic Rock. We need Louder or Classic Rock, or whatever they call themselves. We need that. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, there are other sites, less professional sites, that are around, and they just go and I like the good use of the cough button there.
Yeah, thanks.
Good use. They do feed into it, and what they do, and everybody likes using the word clickbait. They pull it out, and you see the headline, and you see, Gene says Ace is an asshole, and you go, the fuck was that? And then, of course, after you read the interview, or after you actually listen to the interview, you go, oh, okay, I see what he was saying. He's not saying that, you idiot. Yeah. But they love doing that because it gets the clicks. And by the way, that's why on my show I have decided, I decided like 5-6 years ago, I'm going to run the entire interview. Mm-hmm. And if it's great, it's great. And if it's boring, whatever. But I know that the publicist, the manager, the band can't come to me and say, hey, Mitch, you made me look like it. It's like, no, I didn't. Yeah. That's the entire fucking thing. And that 5 minutes in the middle where you were boring, that was you. Mm-hmm. And those stupid questions, that was me. But what Blabbermouth or what another site does with the content after, that's not me. So if you're not happy, go talk to them. And if you're thrilled, well, you can come talk to me if you're thrilled.
Yeah, but definitely want to know.
Yeah. If you're thrilled, come talk. No, but that's why I run the interviews as is, and that's also why I've gotten to, I'm trying to get all my interviews to about 25 minutes. Sometimes they go a little bit longer, but I find those long format ones of an hour get a little tedious. And 15 minutes, you don't really get anything. It's, hi, how's he doing? Hey, the tour album. Okay, bye.
Exactly. Yeah. It's tough to find that sweet spot in there. I feel like when people started going for the 3-hour shows, because Joe Rogan popularized that, and the time length has slowly been going down as people realize it's sort of unique to what you're doing. There's not really a format for this.
Yeah, and I'm good at half an hour, and I've even brought my show down to one interview per episode. Now, there were practical business reasons for that too, which we can discuss. But I just feel that it's nice to as a fan to come to the Rock Talk with Mitch Lafon and go, hey, he's got so and so. Oh, I like that guy. It's half an hour. Good, I'm good to go. Or hey, I don't know that guy, but it's only 20 minutes. All right, well, let's find out what. Whereas sometimes I had 2-hour episodes, and I could understand somebody going, dude, I don't have time for this.
Seriously,
I don't have time. And listen, as a fan, I don't have time for it. I look on YouTube and I'll see a clip of something. And I'll go, all right, I'll watch that. And then I see sometimes 4 hours with and you go, I don't need 4 hours of Slash. I mean, I don't.
Yeah.
I love them, but 20 minutes, I'm good.
It gets monotonous after a certain point.
Yeah, and sometimes, especially on YouTube or podcasts, when it's not a professional broadcaster or it's not a professional guy who's asking questions, at some point it just becomes nonsensical. It's like, what are you asking him?
Right.
Like,
yeah.
like
what are we doing?
Yeah. What are you doing? But no, there was also, listen, I'll divulge the business thing. A management team came to me and said, Mitch, we love the interview you did with our artist. It was fantastic. We would love to put it up on all our socials and so on and so forth. But we don't want to promote the new album by the band that what you had on the. And I was like, well, yeah, that makes sense. You know, and they were like, well, we don't want to put your podcast on our socials because Band X is talking about their album and tour, and we don't want to be in competition, and we don't want to promote them through our socials. We're not in our, it's not in our purview to promote Band X on our socials. And I thought about that, and I went, yeah, you're right. And I mentioned it to a couple of people. They go, oh, they're being dicks. I'm like, well, no. Did you ever open up Metal Edge magazine or Rolling Stone magazine and see new album by Aerosmith? And then in the little bottom corner, oh yeah, and buy the new Sticks? Well, no, you didn't.
In the same article, right?
Well, no, you didn't. Or the same ad, you didn't.
Yeah.
And I went, yeah, well, that's the same thing.
Fair enough.
They're on your show promoting their thing. Why would they spread the word and promote Band X? And you go, okay, I get that. And then I thought, well, you know what? Half an hour shows are easy. Like this morning, I had an interview at 10 o'clock with Steve Overland of FM, and I got up at like 7:30, and I went, and I said, oh, fuck, I'll just throw an episode. So I took out the Danko Jones, threw it up. Took me an hour to, get it all ready. Whereas if I was doing a 2-hour show, I would have just said, fuck it. If I'm going to start, I'm going to finish in the middle, and I just wouldn't have done it.
Right.
So it's more motivating and I have a like I couldn't do Mitch Marathon much if I was doing 3 hour because I would kill myself.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Figuratively. Yeah. But this way it's like tomorrow I have 3 interviews, and if I wake up early, I have a 20-minute interview sitting in the can, and I'll just say, all right, I'll just throw that one up, and off we go, and Mitch Marathon Months continues. And if I wake up late, well, all right, I'll do my other 3 interviews, and we'll get to this on Wednesday. No harm.
It's nice being your own boss.
Oh, it is. Listen, I just got 2 paychecks, one from YouTube and one from my Omni ads. And it's like, it's all mine. It doesn't go to the company who rolls it around for whatever amount of time and then sends me a percentage later on. And it's like,
exactly.
Sorry for drinking. But Omni, which is my platform, they do all the stuff for Westwood One. They do all the stuff for, I think, NPR. They do all like the major stuff, and they were just bought. And it occurred to me, I was loading the stuff up on Omni, and then all the ad money was going to Westwood One. And it just went, I go, well, that doesn't make sense. If I'm doing all the legwork, why is somebody over here getting the check? So now I do it all by myself. I mean, the RSS feed goes to all the different platforms, and in fact, more platforms. Omni didn't want to do Spotify. Omni didn't want to do Stitcher because they didn't like the way the revenue sharing was, blah, 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 whatever. Now I just threw it out on all of those platforms, and it's great. And listen, I got 2 checks today, 2 separate checks because I also wasn't allowed to put my content on YouTube.
Right.
So for 2 years, my YouTube page was basically, a pyramid where just stuff sat there until it was discovered.
Right.
That didn't do me any good. So now I did, like today, I did Danko Jones, threw it up on iHeart, Spotify, blah, 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 and took the audio, stuck it on YouTube, and now it lives in infamy, and hopefully brings in money.
It's true. Yeah, that's very good. And it's interesting that you mentioned going from working with like a podcast company to being independent. What are the advantages for working with a podcast company? Why did you start working with them, with one essentially?
Well, absolutely visibility. I mean, when sorry for the noise in the background. When Chris Jericho came to me and said, "Do you want to join me at Podcast One?" I was looking at a Twitter feed that had 800 followers. I was looking at a Mitch friend page on Facebook that had 1,000 followers, whatever. So it increases visibility.
Mm-hmm. 100%.
You know, it absolutely increased visibility, and the brand association. Mitch and Chris Jericho. I mean, that's a pretty good brand association.
For sure.
So I thank him for that. But over the last couple, and then we moved over to Westwood One, and of course, that changed things because when you called up a publicist and said, "Hey, I'd like to do an interview," like I have a perfect example, Richie Sambora. For as long as I've been alive, I've been trying to get a Richie Sambora interview, and it was always no, 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 no. And does that record with Orianthi last year, RSO, or a couple of years ago. And I phone up and I say, "I'd like to interview Richie for the RSO Pro thing. It's going to go for Westwood One." And that was on the Monday. I had Richie on the phone on Tuesday.
Wow. No way.
Right. And I've been trying since 96 or 97.
Yeah, that's crazy.
From the Brave Words date. And it was just like, whatever. And so there was that. But now that I did that, now the Westwood One thing ended, not because they didn't fire me or anything. The Jericho network on there was disbanded for whatever reason. Westwood One didn't want the Jericho network or didn't want, and so a lot of the shows were just summarily dismissed. Some of the wrestling shows, some of the Out of This World show. Anyway, just whatever. Mm-hmm. That's the bit. But my Twitter feed is at almost 13,000 followers. 4 million Twitter impressions a month. The Facebook is my personal Facebook is at 5,000 all the time. I've always got 5,000 friends plus I think it's like 7,000 extra followers or something crazy like that.
Yeah, something like that.
And then there's the other Facebook page, and so now it helped build the brand, but after a while, the good thing about building a brand is taking it out on the road by yourself. Chris Jericho doesn't need all that stuff. He's Chris Jericho. Gene Simmons doesn't need all that. He's Gene Simmons. Now, I'm not them. Let's not kid ourselves. But it's nice to be able to do it on my own. And now I phone a publicist. I'll say, "Hey, it's Mitch Lafon," and they go, "All right, we know you. Right. Who do you want to talk to?" So in 2 years, it accelerated the brand building far more than I could have done it by myself. Now, I would have gotten there. Probably would have taken 7 years, though.
Yeah.
But money-wise, unless you're Joe Rogan or unless you're Chris Jericho or unless you're Eddie Trunk, they're just not. They're not paying you. They're just.
It's such a. It's almost frustrating for me that it's such a divide and seems like such a wide length of things in between that point and somebody like myself, and it seems like in the road in between there's not much money.
There's not. There really isn't, which is unfortunate. But the reality of it all is, unless you've established the brand and you can stand alone, you're just fodder. I mean, and so that's the good thing about being alone. And so now I control everything. I dictate when my shows go up. Mm-hmm. With either Podcast One or Westwood One, and I don't mean this in a disparaging way because I'm not trying to slag them at all, but I wasn't allowed. It could never have happened. It was one show a week, period, on a Monday. That's it, end of story. Mm-hmm. And it was frustrating because I had a lot of breaking news that I had to sit on. Yeah. And then some other little dinky site would go do an interview and be like, Alice Cooper did claims, and it's just like, fuck, he told me that yesterday, and I fucking couldn't run.
And they have 50,000 views in 12 hours, and it's like I was about to post that.
Right, and I had it first. Yeah. So now when that happens, and I get one of those, I get off the phone and I load it up right away. I'm like, well, fuck it, we're doing 3 shows today, whatever.
Exactly.
It's the way it's going to be, and it's nice to be alone. It's nice, and it's nice that now I have T-shirts.
Mm-hmm.
I'll plug the T-shirts. Loudtracks.com/Mitch. Tracks, TRAX. But my merchandiser in the last couple of months has told me that my T-shirts is currently outselling some of the bigger bands, even including AC/DC, and I think it's just because I've been plugging it all the time, and so people are going to buy them, whereas AC/DC is not plugging it now.
Right.
Ultimately, over the last 40 years, they've sold more T-shirts. That's why. But in that small little window of I sold more, it's kind of exciting, and it's nice to be able to have. I mean, I literally went to M3 in Maryland, and somebody was wearing a Rock Talk with Mitch Lafon tee, and I had never met them. I didn't know who they were, but they bought one.
That's a crazy feeling, hey?
It is. I mean, I showed up at a Foreigner meet and greet, and the band was wearing my T-shirt.
Wow, that's crazy.
It's
good for the branding. I got to get some damn shirts. What I've been looking into is the hats with my logo on them. A shirt could go well too.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Maybe I'll have to start doing hats. And the folks have been asking me about white T-shirts instead of black T-shirts. Well, I had a discussion this week with my merchandiser. So, and when I went down to see Judas Priest in May. The tour manager said, "Hey, I need you to bring 7 shirts, one for each guy, and me and the other road guy." I was like, all right, I'll bring you 7 fucking shirts. I mean,
what size is Halford?
I'm trying to think. That I think I had 1 XL, 3 Ls, a medium. Anyway, I was like, okay, I'll bring you T-shirts, and I went backstage and I sat with Ian Hill and I gave him all the shirts, and it was like, hey.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, and that's all thanks to Jericho. Putting me on Podcast One and then over to Westwood One, and that wouldn't be happening otherwise. So, yeah, there's a use for them, but I don't know. It's tough because you sort of get lost in the shuffle. Like if you go to their websites, they are always featuring their major artists or their major speakers or podcasters. So you'll go to whoever and you'll see, Joe Rogan, Eddie Trunk, Chris Jericho, and then the rest of us we don't exist.
Yeah.
But so at least now I can sort of make myself exist. There's only one show I care about. No offense.
No, I understand. I totally understand. And it's like putting all the effort and energy into that and cultivating the fan base. I mean, that's what it's all about, So I love that. At this point in your career, you've been doing it for quite a long time. You've banked many, many interviews. Is there anyone who you say, I really want to interview that person, but I haven't got the chance yet?
Oh, of course. I still haven't interviewed John Bon Jovi. Okay. I think that would be interesting.
Didn't you sneak into his dressing room?
I did.
That's so funny.
I was invited into the dressing room, but they didn't realize I didn't belong there.
Right.
Yeah. You want to hear that whole story? I'll tell you that story. That's a great story.
Sure. What happened?
That was on the Crush tour. Well, I learned years and years ago, back in the 90s, that now this was pre 9/11 when security just was like, "Hey, buddy, how's it go?" You just had to act like you belonged, and it also didn't hurt if you looked like you belonged. So I've always had the black, whatever, cargo pants or black shorts, or whatever, that roadie look,
Yeah.
And in Quebec City, it was particularly easy because not only if you looked the part and act the part and you spoke English.
Oh, yes.
You were fucking set. So anyway, Bon Jovi, now this was before, I had been doing stuff for Brave Words, but there wasn't, you open a magazine, you see Mitch Lafon, you don't know what he looks like. So the Crush tour is coming through Quebec City, and I decide now it's I'm trying to think. I think it was April or May. So up in Quebec City, it was still cold. It was still a little bit on the cool side. Like the 10 to 12. Anyway, I decide I'm going to go early, I get to the venue like at 2 p.m. And one of the reasons I did that is the parking there was like $20 a thing. And I said, I'm not fucking paying $20. But if you showed up before 4 o'clock, before they put the gates up, you could just park for free.
Right.
Anyway, so I get there early. I'm in the black shorts, black tee, looking very roadie, with the hood, the black hoodie, looking very roadie-like. And I go park. Nobody says anything. And they're loading in stuff through the back gate. It was a ramp that went down, and I went up to the guy, and nothing but English. And I go, where's your bathroom? And he goes, I go, man, where's your bathroom? And he goes, it's down to the left. All right, fine. I go down. So I go down, and I'm right there. I'm within the drums being washed. I'm by the catering. I'm like, all right. So the move back in the day, people when they don't belong, they try to hide or they avert their eyes. Every security guard that walked by is like, "Hey, how's it going, buddy? You're gonna be a good show tonight." Just like engaging them, right? And I just said, well, I was gonna go over to the mall and have lunch, but fuck it, I'm staying here until they throw me out.
Yeah.
They never did.
Oh,
they never did. I walked back and forth in that Colisée, up and down, like where the dressing rooms would be, and the ramp. I walked right up to the ramp, and I sat there and watched sound check. And Bon Jovi, at least in the day, always ran a closed sound check. If you weren't the band or Obi or Brian, they didn't want to know you.
Wow.
But I walked right in, and I'm standing by the security guard going, "Man, they sound great. It's gonna be a great show." Just and so that's one security guard just saw me all day.
Wow.
He just assumed I belonged.
That's luck.
Yeah, so I'm in this dressing room part that goes up to the stage, and the show ends, and I start walking out, and figuring I'm going to head to the car, and I'm going to get out of here before the traffic gets And he grabs me, and I go, "Oh fuck! Oh, well, it's been a good day." He goes, "No, you're going the wrong way. It's dressing rooms are that way." I'm like, "All righty." And he walks me over and puts me in, and there's 30 strippers in there. I'm like,
whoa.
Okay, this is interesting. And I'm figuring, all right, I'm not gonna go mingle with them because I don't want to be stepping on anybody's toes. And why is this dude talking to our? So I went to the corner, and David Bryan walks in. Hey, how's it going? Goes over to the strippers, and Tico turns, hey, how's it going? Goes over to the strippers. And Huey McDonald comes in and goes, I'm not really into that. And he starts just talking to me. And we spoke for like 45 minutes.
Wow.
But then John walks in, but I'm standing right by the door. So he literally walks into me. It's like, boom, hey, how's it going, John? Great show tonight. And he shakes my hand. He goes, yeah. And he looks around and he goes, and he leaves.
Oh.
And so I got to meet John, and I got to spend 45 minutes. So, I believe I left Quebec City like at 2 a.m. and I was planning on driving back to Montreal, and I had to go work in the morning. So I now have this 3.5-hour drive at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I got to be up for work like at 7. I'm like, fuck it, I'm staying.
Yeah. Why the hell not? It's Bon Jovi.
And so I watched Tico and David talking to the girls. There was no nudity and there was no drug use. There was nothing. There was just I don't even remember if there were drinks. There must have been drinks. I don't remember drinks. But I just all right. I'll just sit and watch this while talking to Huey McDonald.
Hanging out, yeah. Why not talk?
Yeah. Just hung out. It was the greatest thing, and all of that because I asked a security guard in English, "Can I go pee?"
That's so funny. God, let's hope that guy isn't employed by a security company still. Holy shit. No, let's hope he is, actually. More fun experiences for
more fun experiences
kids.
For us. Yeah, but it changed a little bit after 9/11, but honestly, a lot of the security around venues is still very lax because they don't really have security teams. They hire people for the summer, or they hire a few extra, because nobody wants to give security guards a salary. So they're like, all right, Snoop Dogg's coming to town. All right, let's hire 400 kids. And, 398 of them, never fucking put on a security shirt before, so they don't have a fucking clue.
Exactly. I was just doing that all weekend for a rave, and that's when I learned. I said, oh, nobody knows what's going on. This is insane. 3 dudes. I was securing the backstage entrance for Stage B. 3 guys walked in, and I went and got my supervisor and said, those 3 guys just blew past me. And he said, fuck it. And he walked away. I was like, what are we doing here? Why am I getting paid? Like, this is crazy.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate truth of concert security.
Yeah.
It's not feasible to put 400 guys on a permanent salary, so it's all temp work, and it's all temp work with whatever warm bodies around that day who haven't done the training, who, listen, I used to work out a lot at the YMCA, and the head of security for the Bell Center and for the outdoor shows trained there. And every so often he'd be like, "Hey, Mitch, Jay, we've got." I worked. Trying to think, I worked Snoop Dogg, I worked 50 Cent, or maybe they were on tour together. They're like, "Yeah, we have these rappers coming in, and we're just gonna need extra security. The Bell Center wants us to like triple our security. You guys up for it?" I'm like, "Okay."
Why not?
And that was my training.
That's the training.
The
Good
training
orientation.
Hey, buddy, you want to go work? All right, fine, sure.
Seriously, let's show up.
Let me do a few more curls and I'll show up tonight. That was it. That was it.
Find a way. They have best interest to let my buddies in once I'm at my post.
Yeah, that was it. And I remember before the show started, they go, "Okay, you're going to stand at the top of the stairs here. Just don't let anybody down without a ticket, okay?" And they're like, "Listen, it's a rap concert, and they're not supposed to smoke in the building, but if we start busting their balls on that, we're going to have a lot of trouble. So just let it go." I was like, "Oh, okay. So we're just going to let the shit go. All right." So I'm just going to stand here. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Just stand and take in some smoke, I guess.
Yeah. Just stand and take in smoke and make sure, and he's like, if there's any real violence, the cops will come in. Okay. So I'm just basically standing here.
Yeah, getting paid to watch a concert. That's what I started to realize. If you're getting paid to watch the show, you're not doing much, so you might as well be on the payroll for it,
Yeah, it's concerts. Anyway, that was my Bon Jovi story. But what were we talking about before the Bon Jovi story?
There's
also a Motley Crue story. I did the same thing with Motley Crue on their Generation Swine tour in Toronto.
Oh, you snuck back there?
Well, I went down with a buddy who said he was on the guest list, and when we get there, I go up to the not the catering, the box office, and I was about to ask, and he just grabs me and goes, "No, just walk in." I go, "All right." He goes, "Just pretend you belong." So I don't think he actually had a ticket. I think we drove from Montreal to Toronto just based on him wanting to do this scan. Anyway, so we saw the Generation Swine show, and we got into sound check like at 3:00 in the afternoon. And I have pictures of me with all the Motley Crue guys, but they've disappeared over the years, which is a shame because they're not digital files. They don't exist in any cloud. They are in some box.
You have to have the original. That's
somewhere.
Crazy.
But I had pictures of me and Nikki and Tommy and Mick and.
That's so cool. Were they like the Legends? Like, was it all? Were they crazy and stuff, or were they just sort of?
Nah, not there. No.
Yeah.
Actually, the picture of me and Tommy Lee from that night, I've posted on my Facebook, so you can find that, or maybe search Mitch Lafon and Tommy Lee, and it'll pop up, I guess. But yeah, that was that night. Guy
That's
Chris,
so funny.
Just walk in, you go, "Just pretend you belong." Okay, I can do that.
Yeah, hey, that's one of the best parts, honestly. It's so weird, yeah, like, especially even working the festival, like 10 people this weekend came in saying, "I'm medical a day." And I'm thinking, how much medical is there? But also, there's no credentials for this, so really anybody could just sneak in. It's pretty funny. But I guess to close it out, I was asking about the top interview bucket list. Do you have any, like, a number one guy that you say, this is the person I have to talk to? Because for me, for a long time, it was Gene Simmons.
Yeah, well, listen, it's got to be Axl Rose, just because he doesn't do interviews.
Right.
And I've done everybody in Guns, I think. Have I done? No, I haven't done Izzy, but he's not in Guns. But I've done Richard, I've done Bumblefoot, I've done DJ, I've done Matt Sorum, Steven Adler, Slash, Duff.
Wow.
Frank Ferrer I've done. I've done Dizzy Reed. I'm trying to think if there's anybody.
You're really going deep.
I've gotten them all except Axel and Izzy, I guess, but he's not in the band anymore. But I've never gotten Axel, and nobody really gets Axel. Eddie has gotten Axel, but that would be the ultimate. Radio. Yeah, or Ozzy, Steven Tyler. I mean, I've done all the guys in Aerosmith except Steven Tyler. I've done Joe Perry twice. I've done Joey Kramer, Tom Hamilton 4 times, I think.
Nice. Are you going to try for Ozzy when he goes to Montreal, or if he goes to Montreal after all this craziness?
Yeah, well, I would love to. Well, you know what? To be fair, I did ask him a question in a press release, in a press conference for Black Sabbath. They had this press conference, and everybody got to ask one question, and I did answer. I did ask, and he did answer. So does that count as I've interviewed Ozzy? I mean,
I think it technically counts, because I did the same thing with Terry Crews, and that was my Terry Crews interview. So.
Yeah, so I guess it counts, right? One interview, and yeah. So yeah, I guess Axel and John Bon Jovi, I think would be my 2, and I think they're both unattainable. I think unless you're Rolling Stone or Billboard or CNN, they just don't fucking care. Listen, GNR didn't do any interviews on the not in the Lifetime tour.
Yeah.
So sold out stadiums and made $1 billion. So.
They got nothing. What is there to say? They're just going home to spend their money.
Yeah. I don't think a Mitch Lafon interview is selling them any more tickets in fucking Frankfurt. So
right, fair enough, man. Fair enough. I guess it's good that we all know where we're at. That's something that I think is good for a podcast, good for anybody in general. Honestly.
Yeah.
I love it, man. Well, Mitch, thank you so much for sharing your insight with me today. Definitely a pleasure talking with you about this. And I love your interviews, and it's been awesome staying in contact through all these years. Where can the people find you and the podcast? Of course, I'm sure they all want to check it out.
Well, hopefully they will. It is called Rock Talk with Mitch Lafon. Nice, simple title, and the best, I guess, is just to Google it, but it's on Spotify, it's on iHeart Radio, it's on Amazon Alexa, Stitcher, TuneIn, but just Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, but, just Rock Talk. And I have my YouTube page, so honestly, go watch them on the YouTube. Now that I'm not bound by contract, I put them up same day on YouTube, and guess what? I get to monetize that.